The married single female, when you're together but alone. Have you ever looked across the dinner table at your partner and thought, I feel more alone with you than I would by myself? That moment, that realization, it hits like a thunderclap on a clear day, doesn't it? The stunning recognition that the person who promised to walk beside you is actually just occupying adjacent space. I recently had the profound privilege of interviewing Sherika Newman, a woman whose spiritual strength and personal journey has transformed countless lives. Sharika isn't just a beacon of wisdom in her community, she's a revolutionary force helping women recognize their worth beyond their capacity to endure. Her courage in sharing her own journey through the wilderness of emotional solitude has created a roadmap for others still finding their way. Through our conversation, Sharika illuminated what happens when we finally recognize the weight we've been carrying alone, even while standing next to someone who promised to share our load. Her impact extends far beyond her immediate circle, creating ripples of transformation for women who find themselves in what I've come to call the married single female phenomenon. This isn't just about marriage on paper. This is about the lived experience of partnership that feels suspiciously like solitude. The married single female. She has a ring, a certificate, maybe even anniversary celebrations, but she doesn't have a partner. Not really. She has a roommate, sometimes a dependent, occasionally a critic, rarely a teammate. And here's the thing about being a married single female, you don't realize it's happening until you're drowning in it. It's the slow accumulation of 1,000 tiny moments where you picked up the slack, made the decision, solved the problem, carried the emotional burden, while someone stood by watching you struggle with your arms full. I was dying inside, Sharika told me, while everyone around me thought I was thriving. That's the insidious nature of this dynamic. From the outside, everything looks fine. Sometimes it even looks enviable. You're handling it all. You're so capable. What a power couple. But inside, you're screaming into the void. Let me be clear. This isn't about husband bashing or partner shaming. This is about naming a pattern that keeps too many women, particularly Black women, trapped in relationships that drain rather than sustain them. When I interviewed several of Atlanta's most influential women for this talk, a pattern emerged that was impossible to ignore. These incredible leaders, women recognized for their professional excellence and community impact, shared a startling commonality. Despite public accolades, many felt profoundly isolated at home due to lack of spousal engagement or shared responsibility. One executive told me, I can lead a team of 50 people at work, but I can't get my husband to remember to pick up milk on the way home, even with a reminder text. Another said, people see us and think we have it all. They don't see me crying in my car before I walk into my house because I know everything inside is waiting for me to handle it. These women formed networks where they could openly discuss these challenges without judgment. They created space to share strategies for boundary setting at home while continuing their professional excellence. Many had grown up believing endurance was a virtue until they saw how much more they could achieve when supported or after leaving unsupported partnerships. Their visibility has encouraged open conversations about redefining partnership roles among Black professionals nationwide. But these conversations aren't happening enough. So let's have one right now. What does it actually look like to be a married single female? It looks like being the default parent who handles every doctor's appointment, school form, and emotional crisis. it looks like managing the household calendar, remembering everyone's schedules, and being the family's walking, talking Google calendar. It looks like carrying the mental load of anticipating needs before they arise, knowing when the toilet paper's running low, when the kids need new shoes, when the car needs maintenance. It looks like being the emotional regulator for everyone in the house while having nowhere to process your own feelings. It looks like making 87% of the family decisions, but being criticized for the 13% that don't go perfectly. It looks like loneliness that cuts deeper because you're supposed to have a partner right there. One of the most powerful stories I encountered was from a mother of two young girls working full time who decided she would no longer accept being emotionally abandoned by her spouse, even if it meant raising her children alone. She juggled parenting duties solo while maintaining career ambitions amid societal pressure to keep her family together at all costs. For years, she hoped things would change, but that hope led only to burnout until witnessing another woman's journey inspired decisive action. I realized I was teaching my daughters that love means exhaustion, she told me. That a woman's job is to carry everything while a man's job is to exist. I couldn't let that be their blueprint for relationships. She prioritized therapy for herself, sought community resources, involved family members in child care support, and ultimately set clear expectations with her partner about shared responsibilities. When those expectations weren't met, she made the difficult decision to leave. Her mental health improved dramatically. She became an example within local mom groups about thriving after walking away from unhealthy dynamics. Her decision allowed both personal growth and healthier modeling for her daughters regarding what love should look like. Her story resonated widely online, empowering other mothers, especially Black moms, to reject martyrdom in favor of joy. But here's what's fascinating: not every story ends in separation. Some women, like Sherika Newman, found ways to transform their relationships by first transforming themselves. Sharika leaned on her faith community and prioritized setting boundaries around her emotional labor. She emerged stronger, more self aware, and better equipped to recognize when relationships were draining rather than fulfilling. Reclaiming time for herself led to deeper fulfillment both personally and professionally. The path forward isn't one size fits all, but it always begins with recognition. You have to name what's happening before you can change it. So, what can you do if you recognize yourself in this talk? First, acknowledge the reality of your situation without shame. This isn't about failure, it's about clarity. Second, assess what's truly sustainable for you, not what you can endure, what allows you to thrive. Third, communicate your needs directly, not hints, not suggestions. Clear statements about what must change. Fourth, create consequences for unchanged behavior. Boundaries without consequences are just suggestions. And fifth, perhaps most importantly, build a support system outside your relationship. You need people who see you, hear you, and remind you of your worth when you forget. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what no longer serves you. The working mother I mentioned earlier told me something I'll never forget. Leaving wasn't giving up, it was finally standing up for myself and for my girls. Other times, the courageous path is staying and demanding the partnership you deserve. As Sharika Newman discovered, setting boundaries can transform not just your relationship, but your entire sense of self. Either way, the status quo of silent suffering isn't sustainable. Not for you, not for the women watching you, not for the next generation learning what love should look like. I want to be absolutely clear. You deserve partnership, not performance. You deserve support, not spectatorship. You deserve to be seen, not just served by. The women I interviewed for this talk, Sherika Newman and others who've navigated this terrain, all shared one common realization. Their worth wasn't determined by how much they could carry alone. Their value wasn't measured by their capacity for endurance. Their strength wasn't proven by their willingness to suffer silently. They discovered, often after years of exhaustion, that true power lies in demanding the partnership they deserve or having the courage to walk away when it isn't forthcoming. So I leave you with this challenge, not just to reflect, but to revolutionize. Look in a mirror tonight and ask yourself, am I living or am I just surviving? Am I partnered or am I performing? Am I accepting crumbs when I deserve the whole feast? Then make one promise to yourself, not to me, not to anyone else, to yourself. Promise that you will no longer participate in your own disappearance. Promise that you will no longer normalize neglect. Promise that you will demand the love you've been so freely giving. Because here's the truth that Sharika and every woman in this talk discovered. Your capacity to carry everything doesn't mean you should. Your ability to survive alone doesn't mean you must. Your strength in solitude doesn't diminish your right to partnership. The revolution begins with one woman saying, no more, I deserve better, and I will accept nothing less. Be that woman today, not tomorrow, not when things get worse, not when you've reached some breaking point that leaves you shattered. Today. Because somewhere another woman is watching you. She's wondering if she too can demand more. She's questioning if she deserves better. And your courage might just be the permission slip she needs to save her own life. This isn't just about marriage. This is about dignity. This is about legacy. This is about freedom. And it begins with you recognizing that the married single female doesn't have to remain single in her marriage. She can demand partnership or find the courage to seek it elsewhere. The choice is yours. The time is now. And you are more than ready. Thank you.